Blackout. Blackout. Is it a good day to be a Knicks fan or what? Salute to all my Knicks fans out there. Welcome to Blackout Sports, sponsored by CapCut. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're tuning in on this afternoon, this evening, it is 5:30. Make sure you sound off in the comments because the New York Knicks are going against the Philadelphia 76ers tonight in Game 2. The New York Knicks absolutely obliterated the 76ers in Game 1. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up the highlights for you because this was an absolute thrashing by the New York Knicks. A great dominant performance from them. Shot 63% from the floor, 51% from three. Out-rebounded them. More assists, more blocks, less turnovers, more points off turnovers. You know the story. Led for 91% of the game. Largest lead was a 40 points, but 137-98 win over the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 1, man. And now we looking towards Game 2. Major breaking news today. Joel Embiid is actually going to be out for Game 2. Now, Joel Embiid did have some comments. Mikal Bridges, I don't think it was a dirty play, in my opinion. I'll go ahead and pull the play up, and I'll let you guys be the judge if it was a dirty play or not. But maybe this is the play that is sidelining Joel Embiid for Game 2. Mikal Bridges pushes off him. It's a pretty normal play. He didn't really elbow him in the midsection, but we all know that before the postseason, Joel Embiid had appendicitis, had to get surgery. And Game 7 against the Boston Celtics, the Celtics training staff actually had to lay Joel Embiid down on the floor on the sideline and stretch him out. He's been having trouble with his midsection pretty much ever since he came back. I was kind of wondering, after having surgery, why you would come back this early. It was a little bit weird to me. I understand that, he's tired of, the narrative of him being hurt during the playoffs and all of that. But Joel Embiid did not look good in Game 1. Game 7 was really rough for Joel Embiid. He had a couple of teammates after that incident where they had to stretch him out on the sideline because of his appendix. He had a couple of teammates fall on his knee, and it looked like he barely escaped Game 7 without major injury. I had questions if he was going to even play in Game 1 because it was only a 48-hour turnaround to face the New York Knicks after a grueling 7-game series with the New York Knicks. So my question about the 76ers was, well, okay, he played good in Game 6, Game 7. Looked like kind of the old Joel Embiid. You could clearly tell he was hobbled, though. Will Joel Embiid make it through the series with the New York Knicks? And it appears that he may not. Ruled out tonight, Game 2, due to an ankle and hip injuries. Hip injury is a little weird. I wasn't expecting hip injury. I understand the knee problems he was having. His lower extremities usually are the issues when it comes to Joel Embiid. But he's going to be out for Game 2, and it's going to bring the question if Tyrese Maxey can actually handle the workload. Tyrese Maxey only had 9 shots in Game 1. I do believe he only had 12 points. There was a lot of comments and talk around, Tyrese Maxey's play, that he wasn't that aggressive. In my opinion, when it comes to Tyrese Maxey, I honestly feel that Mikal Bridges just had him in defensive hell, guys. Let's keep it real. Mikal Bridges has struggled. He's not struggling anymore. He seems like he's broken out. He's had 15-plus points in the past couple of games, 24 against the Atlanta Hawks in Game 6, 17 against the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 1. So it looks like we're starting to get the scoring again from Mikal Bridges. He's starting to be more efficient, starting to be more consistent when it comes to the scoring, aggressive, going to the hole. And the big part of Mikal Bridges, though, has been his defense all postseason long. Nickeil Alexander-Walker came into the series with the New York Knicks, winning the Most Improved Player of the Year award. Say that fast 3 times. but he's jumped up to being a pretty good player and could be part of a big three, depending on who the Atlanta Hawks get. I wouldn't necessarily consider CJ McCollum a big three when it comes to them. It looked like that in the playoffs for the first couple of games, but I don't believe it'll be that going into the future. I believe the Hawks will try to add somebody to that team. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker jumped to having 20-plus points a game in the regular season, and Mikal Bridges held them pretty much under 20 points for the majority of the series. Regarding how his offense looked, he was terrible offensively, but Mikal Bridges did his thing defensively, and in game one, Mikal Bridges drew the Tyrese Maxey matchup, and Mikal Bridges just wouldn't let him breathe. So 76ers fans, there's been a lot of talk around why they played so bad in game one. Could it be fatigue? All right, I could kind of see that. Went through 7 games with the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are no slouch. Went through 7 games with them, coming back from a 3-1 lead to win that series. Okay, only 48-hour turnaround. All right, 48 hours doesn't really give Nick Nurse a lot of time to game plan, especially with the offense that we're seeing from the New York Knicks. They're not totally Jalen Brunson dependent anymore. Anybody that's saying that the New York Knicks are still Jalen Brunson dependent, stop listening to them. They haven't watched a stitch of New York Knicks basketball, especially after game 3 of that first round series. The Hawks are using Karl-Anthony Towns as a hub. He's basically playing like a Draymond Green role at the top of the key, passing the cutters, backdoor screens, things like that, to kind of relieve some pressure on Jalen Brunson. Something I've been critical about Mike Brown about is that I understand that Mike Brown has a lot more offensive knowledge than he has during his time before he was a head coach before. Even after he was a head coach with the Sacramento Kings, he spent a couple of years with the Golden State Warriors. Now, when he was with the Warriors, he got to witness the game plan of Steve Kerr of how to screen Steph Curry open, how to scheme to get him open, because Steph Curry goes through the exact same thing that Jalen Brunson goes through when, as far as attention that the defense wants to give them. A lot of teams focus on Jalen Brunson and allows the rest of the team to kill him. They'll live with that, but letting Jalen Brunson just get whatever he wants is going to lead to a 30, 40-point night. And whenever Jalen Brunson usually does that, especially what he can do in the fourth quarter, the clutch ability that Jalen Brunson has, you don't want him going crazy and getting hot. So a lot of teams implement the same game plan that we've seen them use against Steph Curry against Jalen Brunson. And now with this evolved offense with Karl-Anthony Towns being a hub, it allows Mike Brown to call plays for Jalen Brunson to kind of screen him open. A lot of backdoor screens, multiple screens for him from Josh Hart, OG Anunoby to get him open. He's screening himself. When the defense is overpaying attention to him, he's screening for Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, leaving them open for a backdoor cut and having Karl-Anthony Towns as the hub. And that's a new offense. That's not something that we've seen from the New York Knicks all season long. So going back to the 48-hour point, could it be possible that the 76ers didn't have enough time to game plan for the New York Knicks and they just got straight up punched in the mouth? It's totally possible. But I don't want to give the 76ers any excuses when it comes to last night. They were able to hang with the Boston Celtics. Of course, they're saying they're a great defensive team. VJ Edgecombe should be better. He should be guarding Jalen Brunson. Okay, fraud. Okay, we have longer defenders than Kelly Oubre and Paul George. Fraud. Tyrese Maxey might be able to give him a little bit of trouble. He's better defensively than he has been. Fraud. Joel Embiid, they like to play this drop coverage with Joel Embiid because Joel Embiid was so hurt and so hobbled, he couldn't defend the perimeter at all. So when they're putting Joel Embiid in these pick and rolls, and Jalen Brunson is absolutely frying him. And if you look at the course of the series, did you expect that to change at some point with Joel Embiid, especially with his injury concerns? We knew that he was hobbled. He can't move out there. So is that game plan going to change? Did they figure out a way to have Joel Embiid look better on the defensive end when it comes to the pick and rolls? Because the same way CJ McCollum was targeting Jalen Brunson in that Atlanta Hawks series, they were doing the same thing to Joel Embiid in game 1. So does that change? I don't see that changing. So could it be that the New York Knicks are just a straight better team than the 76ers at this point? So there's a lot of excuses coming from Philly. You know, one of my guys, he covers the 76ers. Salute to you. I ain't going to say his name, but said that the Sixers were going to beat the New York Knicks in 6, and, game 1 was a fluke. There's a lot of that talk going around, but now it begs the question, is it still a fluke if Joel Embiid is out? Because now the New York Knicks are going to have to make some adjustments here. The 76ers play a totally different way when Joel Embiid off the floor. They play faster. The defense is a lot better with Joel Embiid actually not in this lineup. So that's the one adjustment that the New York Knicks are going to be able to make. But here's the issue. The New York Knicks have been thrashing absolutely everybody. I think they went 3 games in a row where they scored over 130 and held the other team under 100 points. You got Wingstop, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Josh Hart's been an absolute menace. Shout out to Josh Hart for turning up. He looks like an all-NBA defender out there during the course of this playoffs. So salute to him. But these are the guys that the New York Knicks are going to be able to throw at Tyrese Maxey. So now it's all on Maxey. So it begs the question, do the 76ers even have enough at this point to compete with this Knicks team? I don't think so. I really don't. I kind of believe that at this point, the 76ers, I think 76er fans are really underestimating what they're seeing from the New York Knicks. Sure, them shooting 63% from the floor every game, that's not going to happen. Them shooting 51% from the three-point line, that's not going to happen. We've seen the Knicks struggle shooting from 3 before, but I think they're focusing too much on the offensive side when it comes to the New York Knicks. And if you don't have Joel Embiid, that helps the New York Knicks a lot on the defensive end. Now they have one guy that they can key on. Now, I will give credit to Paul George. Paul George had like 17 points, was cooking, had 4 threes in game 1, looked like the old PG, not the defensive side of that, but the offensive version of PG, had his shot going, was in rhythm. All postseason PG has kind of turned back the clock a little bit. PG did say he had some things to prove, especially after his PED suspension. Didn't tell us exactly what happened, but did say that he has something to prove, and we have seen that from Paul George. So the 2 main guys that the New York Knicks are going to have to focus on is Tyrese Maxey and Paul George. And in my opinion, they have defenders for both of them, not only in this first unit, but the second unit, because we have to give credit to guys like Deuce McBride, who's been an absolute pest on the defensive end. Jordan Clarkson, who everybody thought coming into the season was just going to be an offensive threat for the New York Knicks, a spark plug off the bench during the second half of the season after he lost his spot in the rotation and regained his confidence from Mike Brown in that Utah Jazz game where the coaching staff kind of was in Mike Brown's ear like, hey, I think we should kind of give Jordan Clarkson his spot back. He's been a consummate professional, never complaining. When he got benched, Scott in the lab was playing with the bench 101s to keep himself ready, didn't pout on the bench, was super supportive of his teammates. And ever since he got his spot back, got his confidence from his coach back, not only has Jordan Clarkson been able to give the New York Knicks buckets, but it hasn't been the most impressive thing about him this season. What's been most impressive with Jordan Clarkson is his defense. So these are 2 more guys that Tyrese Maxey and Paul George have to worry about. Them not having Joel Embiid is a major issue for the Philadelphia 76ers, in my opinion. Now, I kind of expected the 76ers to show some more fight after game 1. I wanted to give them credit that the version of them that we saw in game 1, there are excuses there of why they should look like that. It's fair. But I was kind of expecting a better performance from Joel Embiid as well, especially on the offensive end. I think he shot like 3-11 from the floor in game 1. You're not going to get that version of Joel Embiid any night. Even if he's on one leg, Joel Embiid is going to shoot better than that. May not be that mobile, but Joel Embiid has a specific skill set where he's savvy enough to get to the free throw line. Flopper. I'm going to say that. Flopper. But he does have that skill set to get to the free throw line, and when his shots fall in with that, Joel Embiid is a very dangerous person to have to deal with on a night-to-night basis, especially in a 7-game series. Did a great job getting Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson in foul trouble in game 1, and it's kind of the question if that's what changed with Joel Embiid, because that's just who Joel Embiid is. He's going to get to the free throw line. But them not having him, now the Knicks, all they have to worry about is Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, who had kind of had a bad game as well, kind of felt the pressure of Madison Square Garden. Started off hot early, cooled down immediately after the first quarter. But now you just kind of got to worry about those three and see what type of game plan they're going to run against this New York Knicks team. I expect them to be faster. I expect them to be more aggressive. But not having Joel Embiid for them after they just tailored their offense around Joel Embiid for the past 4 games, it's real hard. It's real hard for teams to just flip that switch, especially in the playoffs when the pressure is the highest. But you got to sound off. If you watching replay gang, salute. Make sure you sound off. Let me know what your prediction is for this game, because at first I kind of believed that maybe the 76ers had a shot. Maybe the Knicks kind of, get a little bit lazy after the first game performance. Maybe the 76ers have their backs against the wall. They did come down from a 3-1 lead. Got to give them credit there. There's fight in the 76ers. It sure is. But them not having Joel Embiid brings a major question to me, and I honestly have the New York Knicks winning game 2. I really do. But the New York Knicks do have their own injury concerns to speak about, because update from Ian Begley, the New York Knicks are listing Mitchell Robinson as questionable for tonight's game with an illness. So if Mitchell Robinson can't play, we did see Ariel Hoporti come in last game, played really good minutes, good defense, didn't get pushed around like that. I didn't expect Ariel Hoporti to play a minute in this series, to be perfectly honest with you. Not 1 minute. And when Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitch got in foul trouble, Ariel Hoporti came in and held it down. So do the Knicks want to kind of rear on the side of caution when it comes to Mitchell Robinson with his illness and keep him on the sideline? And since there's no Joel Embiid, maybe Karl-Anthony Towns can handle the workload by himself. Now, this does open up more of that hub offense for Karl-Anthony Towns. We did see a little bit of trouble from him kind of getting the ball into the post, because Joel Embiid is a taller defender. Joel Embiid, 7 foot tall. Nobody on the Atlanta Hawks is over 6'9", 6'10", so it was easy for Cat to see over his defender and get the ball to somebody on the screen. That wasn't necessarily the case for Karl-Anthony Towns. Still had 7 assists or 6 assists. I believe Karl-Anthony Towns would have had a triple-double if he played for the whole second half, to be real with you. But not having Joel Embiid is going to open that offensive back up for the Knicks too. So all signs are kind of pointing to the New York Knicks winning this game in game 2. And if Joel Embiid is unable to go for the rest of the series, which I kind of predicted, I didn't think Joel Embiid was going to make it. He didn't look good out there. I'm going to be real with you. And it wasn't a dirty play from Mikal Bridges at all. Mikal Bridges just pushed off him like every player kind of does on a screen that's that close to the backcourt to get back to Tyrese Maxey. That's who he was trying to get to. He wasn't trying to hurt Joel Embiid. Nobody's thinking about that. We're just thinking about winning games. But not having Joel Embiid is a huge advantage for the New York Knicks. Now, not having Mitchell Robinson tonight may hurt a little bit, because now you don't have a too big type of dominance in the paint that the New York Knicks have had over the past 4 games, where they've showed this completely dominating championship version of what the New York Knicks can be. So Mitchell Robinson is a big part of that. So hopefully he can go, because if the Knicks have an opportunity to end this series in 4 or 5, they definitely should take that opportunity. Watch the series last night. Watch the game in between the Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. It doesn't look like the Detroit Pistons should have any issues with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They shouldn't. Donovan Mitchell has been playing absolutely terrible, super inefficient from the floor. James Harden hasn't looked great either, especially scoring the ball. They don't look like they have much chemistry, which is something that I kind of expected. I never understood the James Harden trade to Cleveland. You have to usually re-evolve your whole system around James Harden, and especially if you have title aspirations, it takes more than 20 games to do that with James. So they haven't necessarily had the right chemistry or the right play calling in order for them to be efficient in the playoffs. And Detroit, even though they don't necessarily have a second scorer, is pretty much Cade Cunningham or nothing. They had some scoring output last night in between the rest of the team. We're starting to see that offense open up. So if Detroit looks like they're going to handle the Cavaliers in about 4 or 5 games as well, the New York Knicks need to take this opportunity to get out of this series early and to get out of this series healthy. That's the main goal. for the New York Knicks. Get out of the series healthy and get out of it quick. If the New York Knicks can get this out of here in four, so hopefully Mitchell Robinson can play tonight to give the New York Knicks at least a 2-game lead going into Philadelphia. We already know how Philadelphia is playing. Their tickets is trash to me. You scared. But try to win these 2 games at home. Take care of home court. And the Knicks have been great at doing that over the course of the season. The New York Knicks definitely improved their home win record. You know what I mean? So take care of home. Go into Philly. If Philly wants to take game 3, that's normal in the playoffs for a team to have this motivation and this energy to win game 3 because, so there's always fight left in the dog now. You know what I'm saying? I respect the 76ers. There's going to be fight there. So I kind of expected the Sixers to at least win game 3. But with no Joel Embiid, that's up the question now. Kind of have a little bit of doubt about it, to be real with you. So we do have some sound from Mike Brown before we go. Salute to everybody tuning in. Got one comment in here. Agent Super Argo 5023. What's good, my boy? Appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It says Embiid is experiencing karma for what he did to Mitch. The Knicks have to go into game 2 with the same game plan. Annihilation is imminent. Facts. I totally agree, bro. Totally agree. Don't play with your food. That's been a theme for me for the New York Knicks this playoffs. And I think it's something that they realized too after game 3 in that Atlanta Hawks series. We can't play with our food this playoffs. We got title contention. Try to get this chip. Try to get to the NBA Finals. That's the goal. And it looks like the New York Knicks realized that best way to do that, especially with Mitchell Robinson being out for an illness, best way to do that is to take care of the 76ers in 4. But we do have some comments from Mike Brown I want to play. I didn't hear these yet. Shout out to my guy, Ian Begley. I usually go to him for all my news when it comes to the New York Knicks. But let's hear some sound. Let's hear what Mike Brown got to say. It says here that he's talking about the trickle-down effect of the 76ers missing Joel Embiid tonight. All right, let's see what Coach got to say.
With Tyrese Maxey, obviously, the floor maybe opens up a little bit, but you're always paying attention to Maxey regardless of who's out there. With no Embiid, is that even more of an emphasis because how dangerous he could be with that open floor?
Yeah, Tyrese is dangerous with, like you said, with or without Embiid. I don't think there's been a single time that he's had back-to-back games where he scored under 25 points this year. So we know that he's going to be ultra-aggressive. He's more than a capable passer. Paul George is going to be aggressive. Edgecomb's going to be aggressive. Those guys probably see it as an opportunity of more touches for themselves. When you have a guy like Embiid out, those guys are all capable of stepping their games up to another level. And then, when you talk about, Bona and Drummond, both those guys have played very well against us, and they're both different, and they do different things. They may blitz more, they may switch more, but the game can be different, definitely from them, and we just have to make sure that we're ready to do what we're capable of doing and what we've seen throughout the course of the year.
All right, so that's Mike Brown on a possible game plan switch with Joel Embiid being out. Says Tyrese Maxey, they can't remember the last time Tyrese Maxey has scored under 25 2 games in a row. Expects him to be more aggressive, expects more ball movement. Embiid being out opens up shots for the rest of the guys on that roster. Talks about Bona and the other backcourt. They all do different things. So he's expecting some versatility from the 76ers team tonight, especially after the thrashing they got in game 1. He's expecting some fight. So the key to game 2, my opinion, Mikal Bridges, keep that matchup on on Tyrese Maxey. At this point, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Josh Hart now, because usually I think that the 76ers game plan going into game 2 was to try to put Joel Embiid on Josh Hart to kind of avoid Jalen Brunson seeking him out. But now that's cooked. That's totally cooked. So it's going to be interesting to see what the 76er team comes up with tonight, but I have the Knicks winning game 2. I have the Knicks winning game 2 by double digits, actually. I really do. I really do. Mad respect to Tyrese Maxey. Mad respect to VJ Edgecombe. Rook had an amazing season. Had a breakout game in game 7 against the Boston Celtics. But I don't want to hear that they were tired. They didn't look like they were tired on the defensive end to me, especially when they were guarding Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson had 35 in that game. He averages 35 against the Philadelphia 76ers. Every time he sees the 76ers, he cooks them. That's not an aberration. And 76ers fans are talking like that's an aberration with Jalen Brunson going off like that, and it's not. Just look at the numbers. He cooks the 76ers anytime they're on the court with him. Anytime. I don't know, maybe it's something personal. I remember in the first series a couple of years ago in 2024, when Jalen Brunson was at the free throw line, I think Joel said something to him. And ever since then, Jalen Brunson has had like Michael Jordan-like games where he's scoring over 40 points against them. So I don't know if there's something in between him and Joel too, but I vividly remember Brunson being at the free throw line, something being said to him, and him snapping after that. And ever since then, he's been cooking the 76ers. So 76ers fans saying Jalen Brunson not going to do that every night. Yeah, keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. Well, that's going to be it for me, man. I will be on the post-game live. Shout out to Knicks Media. Shout out to my guy, Richie. We will be doing a post-game recap on Knicks Media. Make sure you guys go give them a like and a follow for your boy. Salute to my co-hosts, Ken Castro and Gino. We will be back on Sunday to recap whatever's going on, man. I think the Knicks have a game on Friday after this, and then they have a game on Sunday, actually. So I'm not necessarily sure the time of the Sunday game, but if it's an afternoon game, the Knicks get this over here at 4. We'll be recapping the series. Looking forward to what we can. Looking forward to whoever we're going to face in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't want to jump there yet. Don't want to do it. I picked the Knicks in 6, and I always pick the Knicks in 6 just to be safe because we do know this team can get in their own way. Sometimes it does look like things have changed. Does look like a switch has flipped. Looks like this is a different Knicks team. The aggression is there. They look like they have that killer instinct. Hopefully that continues tonight because without Joel Embiid in that lineup, the New York Knicks are in prime position to finish their food. Get it over with early. Get to the Eastern Conference Finals healthy, and then we'll deal with most likely Detroit, in my opinion, when we get there to finally reach the NBA Finals for the first time in almost 3 decades. But salute to everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, especially replay gang. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you put Let's Go Knicks in the chat to let me know you watched until the end. And if you were new and you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon so you can get notifications when videos drop like this. And I want to let you guys know that I appreciate y'all because y'all could have been anywhere in the world. But on this Wednesday afternoon, previewing the 76ers versus Knicks, you were here with me. And I appreciate that. Holla at you guys on Sunday. Peace.
Blackout.